2013, a great year to live the run. Back in studio, first show. We talk everything health and fitness. Great show, big energy in the ESPN studio right now. Guys are hanging out that just ran the last show. Dave Alice, Mike Waz. We got CJ Silason. But most importantly, why does Paul look at me when I say most importantly? Most importantly, we got co-host, former Major League catcher and current scout for the Chicago Cubs, Adam Melhuse. Adam, thanks for joining us. Co-host, Paul Tarek, former Olympian. And what'd you say, Paul? A face for radio and a voice for silent movies? Is that your
the full package, I think, is what we've
tagline?
Yeah. I hope not.
I like it.
I sure hope not.
You know, follow us on Facebook / Living the Run or livingtherun.com. You know, I think in New Year's resolutions right off the bat, my first New Year's resolution, I looked at Molly and I said, I am hoping for a Paul Tarek 50% showing in 2013 here on Living the Run. If we got 50% out of Paul Tarek, it is a big year.
50. That's it, 50%? You know what the sad part is? You set the bar nice and low, and it's like, man, I don't know, man. I was thinking more like 42%.
Paul, you've cleared so many bars in your life, high jump bars, pole vault bars. I remember when you busted that knee right before the 2008 Olympic trials.
I remember that too, actually. Yes.
And Adam, I tell you this is the athlete that Paul was. He busted the left knee, right? Busted up the left knee. He finds out he's got a lateral meniscus tear. Looks like it's probably going to be a no-go. And Paul says, you know, I think there's still a possibility I can rehab well enough to run. I'll just jump off my right leg. Surely yeah. I can high jump 6 foot. I can get off that long jump. I'll get over 20 feet. Remarkable stuff.
I wouldn't call it remarkable as much as like just grasping it. And you know, when you're drowning in the ocean, a piece of seaweed will help. You know, you will grab anything.
Well, that's still pretty impressive, though. I mean, I assume that you were a left
foot takeoff.
Wow, yeah. And then go to right foot. That's pretty. Never done a high jump in my life, but I enjoy watching that in the Olympics, and just trying to fathom. I was a left foot jumper in basketball, totally different, but right foot. You'd look at me and go, man, this guy. He never played a day of basketball in his life. Look at him jumping off his right foot. So I know how tough that is.
Well, it's one of the great things, you know, we talk about in health and fitness, and we talked about it last year, and I hope 2013 we can hit more with different clinicians and so forth, is that idea of getting symmetry in the body and therefore potentially eliminating injuries. I think basketball is one of the classic ones where we talk about going and shooting a basic layup, and so many people go, well, I can shoot the right-handed layup better, and they focus on the right hand. But really, it's a coordination of the feet that's a big problem. People just simply can't get that takeoff right. Waz would be able to talk about it routinely, I'm sure, in some of the kids he sees, is that getting to be able to launch off of that right leg is more of a problem sometimes than being able to even shoot it with the left hand.
Well, there's a lot of stuff we did in training. You'd see a guy that gets injured. Sometimes you get somebody with a hamstring issue or a quad issue, and they can't run, they can't do certain things, but they're doing strengthening things on the other side. They get that bilateral transfer, and when they come back, they're actually not quite as weak as they could have been had they just sat there and done nothing and let their leg just atrophy.
Yeah, how much of that stuff did you guys do, Adam, in the hitting world where, of course, we got a dominance there, we got a dominance in the throwing world. How much that kind of stuff were you guys doing bilaterally, not necessarily all for performance, but to keep the health and longevity of you during a long, long season?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately for me, I was I hit both left-handed and right-handed, and that started at age 12. So, that's what probably kept me in the game as long as I got to play. But, and now talking from a symmetry point of view, even now when I go out and play golf, I try to, before we start, take some swings left-handed and use that switch hitting ability to at least just loosen up from both sides. And I know when I don't play around the golf and afterwards, I can totally feel the one side locking and different things happening. So it's interesting, and we had, I guess, was it Dr. Hall? Is that right?
Yeah, Mike Hall at Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, that was a fascinating interview, and just talking about all that stuff, and him to go down the whole list of if this is out of whack, this is out of whack, then this, then that, just the whole chain reaction. And I was getting pretty nervous in my seat over here because I know I was breaking down at several of those points.
Well, it's great. Next week we got Spencer Dennis coming in. I don't know if you guys know him, but Spencer Dennis, excellent golf coach. I think was golf pro for a while, and a guy that has worked with a lot of great athletes around here. I know he worked with Cal Poly for a while. He worked with Sophie for a while, female professional golfer there from Berkeley and from Sweden, I believe. But he's a great guy. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that, how he takes some of his young kids and begins to bring them through so they don't get those repetitive stress type injuries. Paul, maybe you had a little bit more of an advantage possibly in the decathlon world. I mean, what did you see from an injury perspective for yourself when you were strictly a pole vaulter?
I was going to say a day in the decathlon world. That was kind of the average. Just
pole vaulting versus decathlete type of training.
You were injured. I think you were a little more beat down, I guess, in the decathlon world, because you were doing the volume of training was so much more. But as far as pole vaulters go, you would always see guys that were vaulters, out for longer periods because their injuries tended to be, more point specific, more and a little more serious than like you said, say the decathlete. Because that's one of the things, at least that we did, was we would always throw shot and disc, just practicing right-handed normal, but we'd always get maybe 3 to 5 throws in left-handed, just kind of thinking about it before we did anything else. And I think what it did is it made you really think about what you were doing and what you were activating and what you were moving at the at what time, so that when you started throwing with the proper hand, that a lot of times you just get into doing things naturally. I'm sure in baseball it was you never really thought about throwing anything. You just threw. That's just what you did. It was like a second nature thing. With the track and field events, it was like every inch was super important. So you really had to focus on what you were doing to try to get that every last bit of performance out of it. So yeah, I think by going left-handed, we would do, when I tried to high jump off my right leg, that wasn't the first time. That was probably the first time high jumping, but that wasn't the first time jumping. We would go through and do some approaches off the right leg too, just trying to get that bilateral transfer as well. Yeah,
here on Living the Run, I hope in 2013 we can tackle a lot of those topics, cross-training, some of this differentiation training, and even something you said, you looking at Adam and say, hey, Adam, you didn't really think about throwing, you just threw, or you didn't think about hitting, you just hit. And I saw a lady here towards the end of the evening tonight in the clinic she's coming back from a knee injury, and that was kind of one of our topics of discussion. She used to be a big skier, getting back on and just letting it ski, letting the legs go, letting the hips go, and not overthinking things, and just letting the body do what it naturally wants to do, or what that mind is asking it to do as you go forward. Tough thing to do coming off injury.
Oh, totally. And I was just going to say that, when you got, on a much smaller scale now, as working out and you feel little, aches and pains and little stuff here and there, and from always throwing with my left foot being forward on my stride and land foot and right-handed thrower, that hip and stuff issue from that impact, and just trying to work out now with different movements and stuff, and that being kind of locked up and jammed up where the other side isn't. It's just like you try not to think about it, but that something's there, something's just not letting me. It doesn't feel right, and you're like, okay, next workout, if it just gets injured even that much more, okay, fine, but I'm just going to go for it. And you try and go for it, and you're like, I can't do it. It's just something is there, So I'm actually struggling with that right now, just trying to go, okay, you know what? I'm not saying if I blow out, I blow out. I'm not going that crazy, but it's like, hey, you know what? If there's a little tweak, there's a little tweak. I don't have a career riding on my health right now. I just got the kids to as long as I can pick them up, then I'm healthy enough. But, I want to kind of bust through some of these things, because I think I'm at a point now where some of those little things, back, hip stuff is like, okay, it's good enough, so let's just go for it.
Yeah, let it rip it, if you will. I think talking about a couple of people that let it rip, in just a few moments, we're going to have a couple guests that we've had before. First, and you know her, Paul. In fact, we exchanged a few text messages back and forth, and they were rarely about us. They were more about you, but we can get to that a little later. But Kacie Fisher, I think she goes by Kacie Fisher Cleveland, rollerbladed across the country, fastest person to do that earlier this year, participated with Kristin Frey, as well as two guys in Chicago, I believe, to do that stair climbing, 24 hours of stair climbing. We're going to have both of them on the phone at the same time, which should be kind of fun in about 10 minutes. But now, and we're going to continue on in this, and Paul, what'd you say we had in front of us, or what'd you say I handed to Adam?
What? A delicious treat. It looked like a delicious treat.
Delicious treat. Yeah, you're going to be on her side for the last 3-4 months. Thrilling part of this show and exciting part of this show. We've talked to Virginia Merrim of Vert Foods, and one of the big topics that we wanted to hit starting off this year, Virginia, and even thinking about these guys going for 24 hours, obviously they had to fuel, is this idea of eating bars or some of these kind of short, easy foods to get down that are often packaged, but what we're finding are often toxic, full of GMOs, different artificial sweeteners, etc. It looks like you got a glass container for us. I won't tell you what Paul called them earlier, but I know he's excited to chomp in. Virginia, Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Well, I did get a vote from my son that the shape was wrong on the bars. So you might be in agreement. But he said, I don't like this shape. He said it's weird.
He doesn't like the shape. Paul seems to like the shape quite well. He likes the length, too.
Good. The width, it's all good. So I've gotten a lot of interesting emails as the new year came around, and some of that was actually a little bit more pessimistic than I thought. People felt challenged now that all these conversations about wellness and toxicity, GMOs, and it was almost as if Pandora's box had been opened. And they were like, I don't even know what to do anymore. I used to eat this bar, and I won't name them, and this bar, and now I found out all this horrible stuff. I had no idea that they're filled with chemicals. Some of them have MSG in them. What do I do? This is how I sustain myself at the gym. And this was an interesting challenge because people want that convenience of a bar, especially when they're working out or they're doing some really intense activity. How do you make that and still maintain the health of the bar? So I had a lot of fun experimenting in the kitchen using nuts and seeds and fruit, coconut oil, and have you guys tasted it yet?
Yeah, I'm going to guess there's a sunflower seeds and flax seeds in here.
There are no flax seeds. There are actually poppy seeds in there. But I don't do the flax seeds because it's harder for your body to break down the flax seeds. But it is poppy seeds, sunflower seeds, pecans, almonds, hazelnuts. There's a lot of protein in that bar. There's some dried currants. There's some dates. And then it's bound with coconut oil. And I literally dehydrate them. So they're stuck in an oven at a very low temperature for a long time. This allows them to stay crisp. It allows them not to be technically baked. They're still raw. And your body actually absorbs the protein and the enzymes so that when you go for a run or you do a high-impact activity, you actually use that fuel and you don't have a glycemic index and insulin spike. So
this is a brilliant bar. Yep. Adam looks, he just, again, amazed by what he's hearing. Incredible stuff. And I don't know why, we can't all be pulling a rack of these out of our oven each and every morning. I mean, it seems very easy to put together. It doesn't seem like it takes too long. And I was going to ask you the cost on it.
I could make 4 dozen of those for about $13. And if you really have to have something, I hear people they just love tearing it out of the package, wrap it in some saran wrap. I don't know. I mean, if you really have to tear open a package because that makes you happy, there are other ways to do it.
We have mental health professionals if you really need to take it out of cellophane. Exactly. I want to eat it, but it doesn't come in a package.
Yeah.
It's not shiny.
Yeah, there's no numbers on it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Virginia, I have a question for you, and this is kind of the big question I'm sure that everybody has is, you always make this wonderful stuff. For the mere mortal person in the kitchen, okay, not, somebody at novice skill level, what would it take, how long would it take to make something like this? And how would they go, I mean, it would take forever to chop these nuts up if you try to do it by hand. How do you do it? Kind of walk us through the process if you don't mind sharing your trade secret here.
Yeah, so not at all. I love sharing them. That means other people are going to empower themselves. So there's a couple different methods. If you don't want to chop your nuts, you can mill them. So you can have a hand mill or even a coffee grinder. So coffee grinder, a Cuisinart, so a processor. I just don't overdo it. So you don't want to process. The idea is to have less processing. So a quick chop or two, it doesn't need, you can make those even chunkier. All it is a bowl, those chopped ingredients, and the wet ingredients mixed together. That's it. And then if you have kids, it's like the best project ever. It's like Play-Doh. They'll put them into shapes and mold them. The molding's probably the hardest activity. Once you do that, you put them on a pan and you stick them in the oven and you walk away for about an hour and a half. So I'd say that even for the mere mortals and those that aren't as fascinated by this process as me, it's nothing. And it's so much, I mean, the worth in it, and to know that what you're actually giving your body is going to increase its nourishment level and it tastes good. I mean, I hand those to my kids without even thinking. I'm not like, oh, should they have this? Is it gonna? I want them to eat it.
Hey, before
I
you
want
go,
them to have it.
how about a name? You know, everybody wants the package, but how about a name? We got a clever name for these bars?
That's a good one. I hadn't even thought of that. I think the shape threw me. So it was going to be a log something, but you know.
Well, yeah, we didn't want to leave it up to Paul to do this.
Stay away from anything, like, anything log or whatever.
Anything log-ish? Yeah. Okay.
Maybe cluster or something, like something cluster.
Cluster. Just change the shape a little bit. Yeah, something.
Hey, as always, these are brilliant bars, something people should be able to use as a solution. We'll throw these up on the internet so people, if they would like to start making their own. It got 48 bars for $13. It's a huge difference in cost of what you see when you go to these, whatever the store might be that's selling these things. Great stuff, nutrient dense. Thanks so much as always, Virginia. Look forward to 2013 with you.
Yeah, and send me more questions. Tell your listeners if they've got more, they've got a challenge, send it my way. I'll see what I can do.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, looks like we got Kacie and Kristin on the line coming back to talk stair climbing. 24 hours straight stair climbing. Stick with us.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Hey guys, Paul Tarek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
You want to get fit? And I mean really fit? Fit for fun? Fit for looking good? Fit for life? It can happen for you at Athlon Fitness and Performance in San Luis Obispo. Athlon has a 4-week fitness fast start designed to get anyone back on track and moving like a champion quickly and effectively. For a limited time, you can start Athlon's 4-week fitness fast start for only $197. That's 4 weeks of personal training, nutritional guidance, movement rehabilitation, motivation, fun, and encouragement, all for just $197. Take your body and your athleticism to a new level. Go to athlonslow.com. That's ATHLONSLO.com to learn more about the 4-week fitness fast start. It'll be the best decision you'll ever make.
My name is Chris Randolph, and as a local track and field Olympic hopeful, I've been seeing Brian Quigley at Slow Wellness Center to help me with injury recovery during my season. Brian has not only helped me with some very extensive injuries, but has also educated me on the specifics of how my body moves when I compete. His knowledge and touch has helped me achieve personal bests in my competition and has also helped me in injury prevention. Becoming a wellness patient of his has helped me stop my injuries before they start, making time spent recovering shorter, leaving more time spent training for my goals. From injury prevention to wellness, Brian understands the patient and holistically helps them achieve their personal health-related goals. So check out Brian Quigley at peakperformanceslo.com and find him on Facebook and comment a response to this ad and get a complimentary 60-minute massage.
Since 1929, Standard Process has been dedicated to providing the highest quality whole food supplements. Their philosophy is simple: to provide nutrients as they are found in nature. Today, scientists are finding more and more evidence demonstrating the benefits of whole food nutrients over high-dose synthetic vitamins. Standard Process's unique products are sold through healthcare professionals who are trained in using whole food nutrition as the first line of defense for the body. Visit www.standardprocess.com for more information or to find a Standard Process healthcare practitioner near you.
We're back with Living the Run.
Welcome back to Living the Run. Don't forget about this event. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Thursday, January 17th. Do sustainable practices make business sense? Keynote speaker Hunter Lovins, nationally known sustainable business management professor, consultant, and author, will answer this question and more at the Embassy Suites in San Luis Obispo. Also, Russ Lester, sustainable organic walnut farmer, will tell you how he uses his biomass waste to power his farming operations. For more information or to register for a business case for sustainability, visit www.abizcaseforsustainability.com. This event brought to you by none other than Paul Tarek, Pacific Gas and Electric. Paul gives the heads up, the okay on that. We are excited to be joined now by, when it comes down to this, guys, you start to think about how do you come up with what to do and what might sound like fun. And these two, among with two other friends, to decide to not only have these races running upstairs, but these guys decided, all four of them, to go for 24 hours nonstop and see what was the maximum amount of stairs one group could do. Kacie, Kristin, you've been on the show before. You amazed us the last time. Amaze us again. Are you guys standing?
We're standing, we're not climbing.
We're standing, we're not climbing. How's it going? How did the whole event go? Give us an update, give us a wrap. Was it what you expected?
Kristin, are you there?
Oh, you guys might not be able to hear each other, but Kacie, go first.
It wasn't like anything I expected. I had no idea what to expect. I thought we'd have a lot more leg time. We'd have a lot of time to hang out, maybe go to the bathroom, and a lot more time to rest than we ended up having. We actually pushed a lot harder and maintained a speed a lot faster than I even thought we were going to be able to.
So you guys started at 6 p.m., right? Started January 4th at 6 p.m., ended January 5th at 6 p.m., went 123,480 steps, 76,440 feet of vertical climbing, 5,880 floors. The numbers aren't even really fathomable or imaginable when you think about it, but nor were they, Kristin, when we heard you got to the top of, what was that, Sears Tower in 15 minutes or less than 15 minutes. Talk to us about your feeling on this and the difference of the approach between saying, hey, who gets to the top fastest versus knowing you're going to the top and having to come back down and do it again.
Yeah, a few weeks before this, I had done some more endurance climbs, trying to train my body and my mind to get ready for having to go for so long. So I did a few workouts that were between 2 and 3 hours, and I would kind of take some breaks and tried a few different things as far as refueling went, and both those workouts went really well, but I had no idea what to expect over the course of 24 hours. Like Kacie said, this was something none of us had done before. I didn't know how my body would react, if it would be sleep deprived, if, my muscles would just want to give up, but I knew that mentally, it had to be the strongest that I could be, and I knew that 3 other people were depending on me, and I couldn't let them down. And that was one of the biggest things, because when I started getting just sleep deprived, during my rest, it was just, so hard. I really wanted to just lay down and take a nap. And, sometimes it was like the thought of having to go back in there was kind of dreadful. But as soon as I get up and start warming up and actually hit the stairwell, I'd feel really good, and I was able to crank out another, 2 to 3 times up the building, feeling pretty good, and it was just knowing that I would get that rest period, however short it was, that, really helped me to push myself while I was actually climbing, and I think pretty much almost all of us hit some of our fastest times during those last few hours, because we were really just giving it our all and, pushing as hard as we could so we could set this record and, inspire other people to take the stairs and be active and be healthy.
Yeah, first off, congratulations. Kacie, I have a question, though, and this is, just the sheer magnitude of 24 hours up and down stairs has got to be, is hard to comprehend on its own, and that's got to be its own challenge. Talk about near the end as you're getting tired. I mean, I have to think that going down the stairs, is a part that a lot of people don't think about. That's got to be difficult when you're tired and your quads are locking up and you're trying to walk downstairs. I mean, there's got to be like a danger, aspect to that.
Well, it is very dangerous, and it would be very hard, which is exactly why we took the elevator down.
Oh!
We climbed up, so the record we were trying to set, the record we set was vertical feet climbed in a building. So the rules are we just have to climb up, take the elevator down.
Oh, nice. Because I gotta be honest. I was like, totally, I thought you guys were going to eat it, honestly. Like, 24 hours, if you guys had to walk downstairs, too, I honestly thought somebody was going to get hurt.
No, even going down the building one time, you're going to be sore for a couple days. We're not crazy at all. Oh, no. We just climb up.
We just go straight up. We're talking
actually,
Go ahead,
it's kind of
Kacie.
Ironic. I didn't mean to cut you off. It's kind of ironic because...
You can cut Paul off anytime you want.
I've been trying to, Hi, Paul.
Hello.
It's ironic because about 1 o'clock, I went up. I climbed up the stairs, got in the elevator to come down, and the elevator shut down. It broke, and I was stuck in there for almost 3 hours. While the firemen had to come and remove the roof of the elevator to remove me from the elevator. So you think it's going to be hard enough that we're climbing for 24 hours. Now my team, 3 other people had to climb for 3 hours without me there.
What was worse, the claustrophobia of being in an elevator, not know if you could get out, or just run? I got to think running up the stairs was far less painful.
Being in an elevator actually reminded me that I'm lucky I can climb the stairs. So if there's one thing that's worse than climbing stairs for 24 hours, it's sitting in an elevator for 3. You're right.
It was pretty convenient that it was like 5-6 hours into this, Oh, my elevator broke. Sorry, guys.
This is what we got.
Yeah, I wish. I ended up having to make up the distance when I got out.
Make it
so
up.
I had to climb.
Terrible.
I just had to climb 3 times each round to make up for it.
Hey, you're listening to Living the Run here on ESPN 1280, The Ticket. We got Kacie Fisher-Cleveland and Kristin Frey. Kristin, we got to ask you then, what were you thinking when Kacie doesn't re-show up? Did you think did she just give up that quick? Were you wondering where in the heck she was? I mean, you guys sent out a search party. How does that whole thing work?
I mean, luckily for some reason, I'm not really sure why. Kacie had her cell phone with her, and she called her husband Adam, and and then shortly thereafter, I got text messages from her, saying I'm stuck in the elevator, and I'm kind of standing around thinking, well, what do the rest of us do? Are we supposed to wait for you? Do we keep going? Like, are you going to be a minute? And and I was the next person up, so I'm like, well, I guess I better just start climbing. So I got back in the stairwell, and we just continued to do our thing, and, I kept asking, is she out yet? Is she out yet? And
she's like,
we're kind of getting updates, and, we were getting less rest, so that was hard on us. And, I'm still texting Kacie, asking how it's going in the elevator, and she's just like, climb on. And I'm like...
But you guys stuck it to her in the end, though, right? You guys stuck it to her and made her make that up. It's like, no, you're going to climb 3 times, and we're going to hang out over here and rest.
Yeah, so she was climbing 3 while the rest of us were doing 2. So, then she was getting less rest and having to do a little bit more to catch up. But, it all evened out in the end.
Hey, with the amount of those climbs, let the listeners know, what does that mean when you say you're going 2 climbs or 3 climbs, and then you get to rest? What do those time frames look like when you're talking about those stairs?
Well, it's a 42-story building, and we started at floor 9 because it was an empty floor where we could rest. We had floor 9 to 42, and there's no 13th floor for luck reasons, and so there's only 32 floors that we climbed at a time. And to give us more rest, each climber we started out climbing 3 rounds. So we'd climb 3, all the way up, elevator down, all the way up 3 times, and then hand off. So our It normally would take us about 20 to 23 minutes each person to do that, giving us about an hour rest.
Yeah, so hour rest, and then you hit virtually 100 flights of stairs, and then an hour rest, 100 flights of stairs.
We did that for about 8 hours, and then we switched to doing two times each person, 64 flights, and then switching. And then the last couple hours, I think it was the last 3 hours, we did one time each, and we were just going as hard as we possibly could.
Listeners, think about that when you walk into your building and you work on the second floor. And you get on the elevator, and because it's like, the stairs they're hard, and they're over there. Just 100.
I don't know anybody that does that.
Yeah.
Well, it's an amazing thing because where our office is on the third floor, and we get a lot of complaints when the elevator does go down. It gives such perspective on what you guys were doing. I want you guys to make sure you get in why you did what you were doing. I mean, certainly it was an epic challenge, but I know there was something bigger and better you were trying to achieve as well, and something that you were trying to raise money for.
We're raising money for the American Lung Association, who puts on most of the Fight for Air climbs all around the country. But we're raising money for the American Lung Association out of Jacksonville, Florida, on this climb, and just raising awareness and fitness and for the sport of stair climbing. Trying to let people know, yes, people actually do this on purpose.
That's what they used to ask Paul about with a pole vault too. People actually participate in this sport on purpose.
Yes. This isn't an accident. I'm actually trying to do what I'm doing here.
Hey, I'll ask you first, Kristin. What's next in 2013 for you? I know what'd you end up finishing? You finished second. Did you finish second in the rankings in 2012 there?
Yes, I did.
Finished second. So what's on tap here for 2013 for you? What are you trying to tackle? What are the goals coming into this year? I know obviously this was one, but it's January. I know you got a lot to do, and you guys got a lot of energy. So what do you got on the calendar?
Yeah, I'm actually, the end of January, January 27th, I'm doing the Step Up for Kids climb in Chicago. It's the Aon building, and it raises money for the Lori's Children Foundation. So that is an awesome climb because there are tons of kids that come and do it because it raises money for a children's hospital. And kids are allowed to register for free. So it's a great event because, I can finish and then I can go back down and climb again. And the stairwell is just filled, with kids of, all different ages, all different sizes. And they're in there and, they've set this as a goal. And it's just it's so incredible and inspirational seeing them in there and, seeing the excitement on their face, when they finish. And shortly thereafter, about a week and a half after that, I'm climbing the Empire State Building in New York. And then in February, I also have Hustle Up the Hancock. I pretty much have races, every other week through March.
Hey, I must say, it gives me chills almost thinking about those kids. What a great opportunity. And I know Paul and Adam and I have always talked about getting in, motivating kids, not allowing kids to slip through the cracks, get sedentary, get overweight, get blood sugar issues. There's just no excuse for it. So, Kristin, hats off to you for doing that. Thanks for doing that. Kacie, what's on the schedule for you? Because I know we had a big year. We had the rollerblading. I know this year you've got a race set up. I can't remember when you and Paul set that up, but it's you and Paul Tarek racing on the rollerblades somewhere. So that's one thing on the calendar. You got to train a little harder because I've seen Paul. It's epic. I mean, he's got his headlamp on in the evenings. You can see this guy up and down the highways.
Spandex pants on. I'm raring, dude. I'm going.
He's ready to roll. What do you got on the rest of the calendar, Kacie?
I'm trying to get into more endurance races.
Yeah, because
the stuff you've been doing is really kind of short. A lot of anaerobic
short
stuff.
Burst.
We need something longer, like here to Mars, here to Mercury.
I could see why you'd want to change it up. Well, what do you mean by endurance?
Well, actually, once I reached Texas, I thought to myself, "Damn, I'm pretty good at endurance." So
it took you to Texas. I'd be like, once I reach the next city, I'd be like, man, I'm feeling pretty good about my endurance levels. Santa Maria, here I come.
Paul goes from San Luis to Athlon. He's feeling real good.
Yeah. if I ever cross like a city or a county line, I feel like I've accomplished something in life. You're like, yeah, it took me till I got the Great Continental Divide, right? And I was like, I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, you just have to be in cities where they're very close together. You feel so much more accomplished.
Yeah,
that's what I do. I go to the four corners in the U.S. and I just run like really small circles. Like, 16 states today.
This is obviously going nowhere. Hey, you two are nowhere good as far as Paul Terry's concerned. Hey, stay with us online. Let us follow you because this is a blast. This is good stuff. It's so motivating to people, especially coming into January. People looking for something to do. Just the fact that you guys go for 24 hours, and just what we were saying, get people to walk up to that second flight, get people to walk up to that third flight, get kids going, get kids motivated. You guys are a super big inspiration. I love what you do, the stuff online. You're fun to be around and fun to talk to, and keep it up and keep us informed, if you will.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys, so much. Hey, great interviews. We'll talk about it more. We got Ryan Joyner coming on from Athlon Elite 2013. Back more on Living the Run. Stick with us.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Folks, when it comes to the health of my teeth, I will not compromise, and neither should you. It's time you go where my wife and I go. Go see Dr. Ryan Ross. I get it. Not everyone loves a dentist, and heck, even a few of you out there are scared to death of these offices. Bad past experiences? Well, you ever had a bad haircut? How about a bad meal somewhere? You didn't stop getting your haircut, and you certainly didn't stop eating, so stop ignoring your teeth. Dr. Ross's gentle approach, calming demeanor, and office full of upbeat staff puts your dental fears to rest. Conveniently located in a great little house on Marsh Street downtown, Dr. Ross's office exudes the highest level of professionalism, mixed with an atmosphere much like your own home. Look, nobody's in a rush here. It's not a get 'em in, get 'em out atmosphere. Every time I'm in Dr. Ross's office, it's like I'm the only guy that matters. No distractions, just full focus on my oral health. If you're interested in the highest quality in dental care and want to walk out of the office every time with a smile, call Dr. Ryan Ross today, 541-5800.
Imagine waking up every morning feeling great, jumping out of bed, starting your day, and then energetically getting through the day and finishing with plenty left for the evening. The fact is, you were born with all the tools you need to function optimally, develop lean, strong muscles, and generally feel good, productive, and pain-free. You just need to relearn to use these natural tools, and it's not as hard as you think. Athlon Fitness and Performance in San Luis Obispo has a 4-week fitness fast start designed specifically to get you back on track and moving like a champion, quickly and effectively. And for a limited time, you can start Athlon's 4-week fitness fast start for only $197. That's 4 weeks of personal training, nutritional guidance, movement rehabilitation, motivation, fun, and encouragement, all for just $197. Take your body and your athleticism to a new level. Go to athlonslow.com. That's ATHLONSLO.com to learn more about the 4-week fitness fast start. It'll be the best decision you ever make.
Puma Aquatics team offers year-round swim programming for novice, recreational, and competitive swimmers. For 16 years, Puma has developed some of the fastest swimmers on the Central Coast, as well as the nation. Puma has 3 convenient locations to choose from, providing programming for all of San Luis Obispo County. Puma offers swim assessments for new swimmers on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the SLO Kennedy Club, Atascadero Kennedy Club, and Arroyo Grande High School. For more information about Puma Aquatics, check out pumaswim.org. Join the Puma Pride and challenge yourself to reach new levels in your swimming. Puma Aquatics, where pride, passion, and persistence pay off.
The ultimate choice for sports massage in SLO County? Peak Performance. Conveniently located at SLO Wellness Center just blocks from Cal Poly is ready to assist you to reach your personal best. Calling all athletes and fitness enthusiasts. If you're ready to start alleviating symptoms by addressing the true problems, if you are seeking efficient and effective body work, then you can count on Peak Performance. Nagging injury, losing the bounce in your step, pain or tightness keeping you from training hard and reaching your goals? Raise your standards, raise your expectations. Call Peak Performance 543-8688.
We're back with Living the Run.
Back on Living the Run. This segment brought to you by Left Coast T-Shirts. SLO's finest. for shirts, logos, anything you want to put on, use Left Coast. You're a company, you need shirts, you run camps, you run whatever. You need mugs, hats, Left Coast t-shirts. David Whitaker, he's the guy.
Dude, the Living the Run shirts we got, those things are a huge hit. And
Huge
they're
hit.
super comfy, too.
Super comfy. I was talking to Dave. You know, it's kind of interesting. We were just talking about this at the break. And I was talking to Dave, who owns Left Coast T-shirts, and talking about this standing desk that we were just mentioning. And Dave's going to even go even further, which you've probably seen and heard about, is putting the treadmills underneath. And you got a treadmill at a very slow pace going along, and you can work while you're walking. Phenomenal
out there,
stuff.
people, because eventually they're going to unplug your computers, and in order to get your stuff to work, you want to access the internet off-site, you better start walking. You need to produce a couple kilowatts here. Couple watts of power here. Pretty soon you're going to be like gerbils. That's what it's going to be. Make my T-shirt, gerbil.
Hey, if you missed the last interview, Kacie Fisher Cleveland, Kristin Frey, two member of four team group that just set the record for most stairs climbed. A pretty epic thing, 24-hour climb. Good girls, fun interview. Find it on livingtherun.com tomorrow or Facebook/livingtherun. Now, here's what I want to know. Adam, awfully quiet during the interview with those guys. I could sense that potentially you didn't want to get lured in to some of the things that Paul seems to get himself lured in on these races. Rollerblading across the country, potentially having to run stairs for 24 hours. I
got to go to work. I'm working. I'd love to, but I'm working. That's my excuse. No, that's amazing. You know, and the first half of that, I'm just trying to picture and trying to put myself there. I might have. Well, no, I would have tapped out. I mean, the only thing that would have kept me going past my first pass up was the team part of it, and then there's no way. I mean, that's super impressive, and the cause. Oh my gosh, that's doubly impressive. But yeah, it's amazing.
How do you I mean, you know, baseball game, you know, you can get motivated. It's an evening, you know what I mean? I'm going to get out there, I'm going to compete on track meet. Worst, it was 2 days, but we break in between, we got to sit down. It was 10 simple events. How do you motivate yourself? How do you mentally prep to be like, all right, starting at 6 p.m. tomorrow night, for 24 hours straight, I'm going to be walking upstairs. Not like, yeah, you know, maybe I'll take a little walk around the park to cool out. No, you're just going to be walking upstairs. Your job, walk upstairs.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I mean, they'd be kind of fun. It's almost a shame to not be able to talk to them longer. They made a couple of interesting comments. I thought one was getting back into the stairwell. You know, it's kind of like getting back into that kind of torture chamber. Kristin said, yeah. And it's that idea of needing, I mean, just think about that for a second. Running 100 flights of stairs, you start to get that hour rest about, you know, you're in there for 20 minutes. That hour has to continue to seem shorter and shorter as you go. And just that kind of mental getting up. But I think it goes to our listeners that we've talked about before. Kristin also then said, once I got going, it almost seemed like it got easier. And we say that all the time. Just get yourself out there and start moving a little bit. I know initially it's no good, but you know, Adam, I mean, that's a big thing, right? Just get yourself some sort of forward momentum, and you might be able to get off the couch and get something going.
I can relate that to just the morning. I mean, it sounds funny, but you know, it's 6:30, the alarm goes off, and it's like, all right, well, maybe I'll reschedule and go to a later workout or do something, and then, you know, you finally drag yourself out and you're like, oh gosh, this is a bad idea. You know, finally get a little something in you and, you know, splash some cold water. And still by the time you get to the workout, you're like, oh man, this isn't going to be a great workout. You get loose, you get going, the blood starts pumping. You have a great workout. Afterwards, you go, thank goodness I went. Thank goodness I just drug myself out there. I went. Now I feel great the rest of the day. And it's just, if you reflect back to when you first got out of bed, that was the last thing you want to do. It's like, oh, let me just get 20 more minutes, you know, and you just got to get going.
Yeah, one of the things that, believe it or not, I had a little bit of a sleep issue in college. My mind would always race at night, right?
It's so hard to imagine.
I know. So I had to see a sleep therapist for this, you know.
Yeah, and you never had an alarm like Adam just referenced. There's no alarm for you necessary.
No. But this
wide
was
awake.
This was kind of the problem, though, is I would be up till like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, just laying there tossing and turning before I'd finally fall asleep, and then have to be at workout at 6 a.m. And then it was like, I finally was starting to sleep a little bit, but then it was like you said, getting up at 6 was like the hardest thing in the world for me because it was like I just fell asleep. And so I kind of complained to my coaches a little bit, and one of them just kind of said, here's the deal. nobody ever wants to wake up when their alarm goes. I mean, really, that's what we need an alarm for, to get us out of something we want to be doing. So he said, you hear the alarm, before you think about it and contemplate, he said, just kick the feet over the edge of the bed, roll off the bed, do like 2 or 3 push-ups, stretch the hamstrings out, stand up. And he's like, after you stand up, if you feel like going back to bed, go right back to bed. And kind of what you just said is, you never regret doing that workout. It's kind of funny. You get a hard workout in, you do a great job. You never go, God, that was awesome. I really wish I would have stayed in bed today. But you will always be thinking later in the morning, 10 o'clock, whatever, I did skip that workout or whatever. And you're going to be thinking, man, I should have just gotten up. And it's going to happen. And the funny part is, a lot of us, myself included sometimes, still go, yeah, I'm going to sleep in and I'm going to skip this workout, So you got to find a way to get yourself out of bed, even if it's just that, like, don't contemplate it, just make it a natural reaction. Alarm goes up, 5 push-ups, and okay, I feel pretty good. I'm going to get up now. It's
so interesting. You talk about regrets, and that might be something to hit on a topic later. I still want to get Jeff Troshin here, sports psychologist, great guy and neat guy, and he's got a lot of insights on some of this stuff. But the same thing, I think, goes with nutrition. We get these bars in here that Virginia makes. They taste great. We know the ingredients. We know what we just put in our mouth was phenomenal. But what happens in the nutrition world, right? It's the same thing. All of a sudden, we get a little lazy. We don't put that little extra into either going to the store, preparing, organize, prepare a little bit more in the kitchen. We eat something we wish we hadn't eaten, or we skip, and you always regret, but you never regret eating something good. You put something together like this, you finish, you go, I'm so glad I consumed that because I know my body's better for it. You just don't regret that. And like you said, you never regret exercise.
Yeah, you never regret the good things. But then it's funny because maybe your sports psychologist can explain it. We always go, we just go right to that. We go right to that place where it's like, God, I hate eating this. It's like skip the workout, eat crappy food, and then go, oh, it's going to be guilt this afternoon.
Yeah, totally. And it's with the food part of it, you reach for something that you shouldn't be reaching for just because you wait and you procrastinate, or you didn't go to the store and. For me, it's that old saying, if it's not worth fighting for, it's not worth having. So it's like if it's not worth, putting a little extra effort in, if it's not worth, pass it up on the chips and the candy and that kind of stuff. I mean, seriously, for me, this bar was phenomenal. I mean, the sticking point for me is I don't think I could really make that. And I mean, now she was standing right here in front of me and showed me, and I could write down notes and yeah, okay, I could do it, so maybe I'll have my wife get online and copy the recipe, but, something like that over like a Cliff Bar or something like that with sugars or whatever else, I mean, I would gobble those up all day. My son Eli, only, 21 months, likes the taste of Cliff Bar. I wonder why. Yeah. Sugars, whatever else, so I could, give him one of those and tell him it's a Cliff Bar. He'd think it's a Cliff Bar, and he'd wolf that thing down, And
then later in life, you deal with the trust issues then, It's like, why would you tell me it's a Cliff Bar?
He's being lured in early.
I had a Cliff Bar, Dad, and they were terrible.
Yeah. I didn't say I would stuff it in the Cliff Bar wrapper. Now that's totally deceiving.
Well, yeah, we got a big group coming over tomorrow to our clinic at Slow Wellness Center doing a cleanse, and I know there's a few different cleanses going around town. People do these at January time, but one of the big things here is we're trying to get 21 days of habit changing. It's not even all about, hey, how do you get your liver to clean out, your colon to clean out, and all these types of things, but it's also, the big thing is the habits. How do you go to the grocery store and not put the junk in the cart? How do you not get caught without food around so you skip meals? How do you not put some of these things into you? And, coming in, this is a classic thing, and fortunately for us now, as we're closing the show, is from Athlon Elite, Ryan Joyner coming in, and he must see this all the time with people in their workouts making excuses and not being necessarily prepared coming in. But Ryan, Happy New Year to you. Thanks for joining us. Ryan Joyner from Athlon Elite joining us right now.
Thanks a lot. Happy New Year.
Hey, what do you got for us starting off the new year here, Ryan? What's new at Athlon, and what can some of our listeners take home and add to the rest of the week here on Hump Day?
Sure. Well, first thought, I tell you what, to add to your guys' conversation, about the whole, how difficult it is, difficult to get moving, difficult to do the right things, and and I think what we always say at Athlon is it has to be fun. You have to derive some kind of pleasure from the movement, and if you look at kids, I mean, when's the last time you drove by a playground? You saw these kids just hanging and rolling and twisting and turning and just deriving tremendous pleasure from the movement itself. But, with modern adult lifestyle and the sitting and the lack of clarity that we start getting in our movement maps up in our brain, pretty soon movement becomes not so pleasurable and becomes a little bit painful. And so you've got to kind of slowly get that pleasure back in the movement. And, again, we've all talked about it before. The group setting is really helpful for that because you develop some camaraderie and some relationships with people, which, you derive pleasure out of. Having a good coach that motivates you and excites you, again, you're going to derive a little bit of pleasure from that. Start enjoying it. Movement's going to start feeling good again. And then pretty soon, you hate not getting out of bed and missing your workout. You actually, it's a missing piece of your life.
Ryan, that's probably one of the biggest points I think you can hit going into January 2013. Love what you're doing. Too many opportunities out there. I know hopefully as we go through the year with you, you'll share with some of the different equipment, some of the different possibilities within your gym to create that variety and have something for everyone. I know that you hear so much about getting towards medicine balls or kettlebells or got to do elliptical versus treadmill, but the reality is you got to have fun. And man, I think you nailed that coming in here in 2013.
Yeah, find what works for you, and just get started, and the momentum will slowly pull you along. And, and again, the ebbs and flows of life, we always fall in and out of it, but the key is just to keep getting started.
Hey, rock on, Ryan. Thanks so much for joining us. Look forward to hanging with you each week here in 2013. Thanks for supporting Living the Run.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Awesome. Hey, Adam, quickly, great show to start 2013. Tips and takeaways from you.
Push through the kinks and pains, and as you said, let it rip.
Let it rip. Paul Tarek.
It's not so much an idea as the recipe for that bar that we had. That's the takeaway from tonight.
That is the takeaway.
Get that offline and make that.
Hey, my takeaway is get back in the vault. Just absolutely, she's just saying, hey, sometimes it doesn't feel like you want to get back in, get into that stairwell, if you will, here, get back into the vault, get back into that push, if you will. And I thought that was a great tip and takeaway. Next week, guys, we got Spencer Dennis on the show. Great to be with you guys to start 2013. For Adam Melhuse, Paul Tarek, Max Woodcock, I'm Rex Stevens saying live healthy, live bold, come live the run.